Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people from all over the world, this is G with Scampo and Training. Today I'm going to be talking about isometrics using a yoga strap. First and foremost, here we go. It's called Hugger Mugger on Amazon. I got the 10-foot one just to make sure that I have enough length for all the different isometric positions I want to do. So all you really need is a bench and a strap. So here we have a leg raise, hip flexion. I go one leg at a time just to make the exercise easier, increase the time under tension. We're doing 45-second muscle contraction, 15-second rest. Here I want to drive one leg up, one leg down. A lot of these are going to mirror walking, running, marching. When I'm doing isometrics for the low body, I try to feel like I am marching in place or I'm walking or sprinting. So one leg is going down, one leg is going up, trying to separate the feet, keeping both legs straight. We keep both legs straight so that the force goes to the hips and not to the knees. Okay, here we go. Knee extension. So imagine if I was sitting upright and I was in a knee extension machine. Same idea there. 90 degrees at the knees, driving my feet up. My strap is around my shin, and I'm driving my hands down and my head down to get the full posterior chain activation. And I'm driving my feet up, keeping 90 degrees at my knees. This is also working hip flexors and low abs. Speaking of hip flexors and low abs, I'm getting myself into a hollow hold. One thing to note with the strap is don't move the strap as much. Do as many exercises in one position before you move the strap to the waist or to the hands. Be efficient. You know, we always want to be efficient with our exercise. That goes for any isometrics we do too. So I'm keeping my legs straight and I'm driving my low back down, getting my chest off the ground. If this is a little too much for you, don't do one leg at a time or keep your chest on the mat. Excellent ab exercise. Here we go, hip abduction. Isometrics is great for the hips and the abs. Abduction, keeping both legs straight so the force goes to the hips. Pulling my toes back towards me to get dorsiflexion to make sure my knee stays locked out. Also, we're not only driving against the strap, we're driving against the bench too. So both hips are operating in abduction. Flipping over to the other side. Simple stuff. Okay, now we're rotating to the stomach, and it looks like I'm doing a hamstring curl. Maybe I make myself bigger. How about that? Is that a little bit better for you guys? Okay, so hamstrings. If I don't knock out my hamstrings in a workout, because for a number of reasons, one being there's just no hamstring exercise that I want to do that day or like to do that day, so I knock it out with isometrics, which is highly beneficial. So knees stay down, driving my feet towards my hips. You can vary your range of motion here. You could be at 90 degrees, which is where I recommend you start. But studies do show that a lengthened muscle with isometrics is beneficial for hypertrophy. So I got I got a little bit of bend in my knees just to get more of a stretch in my hamstring. And here we go into the Superman. So now I keep my knees off of the bench, trying to drive my legs straight and my hands up. If you have a limited range of motion in your shoulders, your hands can go by your hips and drive your hands back that way. Here, I don't have an issue here, so I'm driving my hands overhead and up. I try and reach my hands away from my feet. Whenever you're doing isometrics, you want to feel tall in your posture. Keep your hips forward, everything extended through. I drive my feet away from each other here to get more hip abduction. It's going to fire up more of the glutes. Also to mention, if you want to grow your butt muscles, do isometrics. Speaking of hips and glutes, I'm doing a hip bridge. Driving my heels into the ground. You can keep your knees close to each other. You can drive them wide, whichever you prefer, as long as we're trying to push our hips up. Okay, one of my favorites here. This one's growing on me. I do love the isometric push-up. This I would consider more of a plank and more of an ab exercise. Also the quads. This is the front of the body. You're driving your hands towards your feet and your feet towards your hands. You're trying to collapse your body and driving into the strap. This is going to fire up your chest. If you need a warm up or anything, this is excellent to do. Notice I'm driving my toes down. So I call that a plank. Here's another hollow hold. So to mention that when you have resistance at your feet, like I did earlier, you move it up to your hands. It's a same exercise, different resistance, different feel. I just like to do this any chance I can. If I put resistance in my feet and do the same exercise, I move up to my hands. It just optimizes everything. So I'm keeping my arms straight and I'm looking for a pullover position and driving my hands towards my knees if the strap wasn't there. Okay, moving on, we have neck flexion. I try and do this as much as I can with clients because I know that if I don't program neck exercises in, they're not going to do them. I'm going to forget about them. We need to work together to make sure we're getting some sort of tension in the neck muscles. Here, I just put this strap around my forehead and drive my head up. Start at a low intensity with this, but over time, you'll feel like you can really drive into the strap and have a strong feel to it. Another thing to add is if you want to put a little bit of a cushion between your head and the strap, I usually use a paper towel. So we're not getting like people's forehead sweat on the strap or anything like that, but find a way to get either a paper towel or like a rubber mat, cut it down, and you can use that for all the exercises to give you a little bit of cushion. Okay, neck flexion, tricep extension, skull crusher. Like I said earlier, you want to get as many exercises in one position as possible to stay efficient. Okay, back to the stomach here, neck extension. This one's interesting because I feel this as it goes down the spine because the spine is responsible for bringing the head up, holding the head up. So now you're holding your head up, but you're applying it against force. And that's just you can feel it all the way down the small muscles of the spine. You can feel it all the way down into the glutes just by driving the head up here. I lifting my legs just to get a little bit more low back activation. Okay, here's the push-up. Like I was talking about earlier, good place to start is 90 degrees in your joints. So I'm at 90 degrees in my elbows here. This one's really hard to do. If you can't do this with your knees off of the mat, then go ahead and put your knees down. Either way, you're looking for elbow bend. A lot of times you want to straighten your elbows out. Your body wants to straighten the elbows out. You want to fight against that temptation. Keep the elbows bent and drive your hands into the bench. You guys are doing great. We're almost to the set. Shoulder, the shoulder. This is called the Cobra, I believe. The first time I heard this, I believe it was called the Cobra. Driving the hands back, keeping the elbows locked to get triceps involved. You're gonna feel this in the upper back, traps, triceps, low back. Another feel-good exercise. Okay, going back to hip abduction. If you want to be laying down, you can do a lot of these. You can get a lot done sitting upright using straps. Here, I'm just driving my knees away from each other. Adjusting the range of motion, get a couple seconds of time under tension in different parts of the range of motion. And shoulder abduction, arms straight, keeping your hands parallel to the ground. Now we're doing a band pull apart. This is what I got from the bull worker. Do a lot of pulling there. Hip flexor. This is one of the better strap exercises. You know, you neglect the hip flexors, but you can really knock them out and get them strong here with any isometrics, especially using the strap. So I keep 90 degrees in my knees and I'm driving my knee up. I think we got one more exercise. Yeah, and there's a strap there. Let me add this back to the stage. Well, how much is this? 13 to 15 bucks. So very affordable option. I suggest trying different exercises and creating a catalog of your own that you like. Just think about before you go into a workout, how much time do you want to commit to isometrics in that set? And then figure out the exercises from there. So say you want 10 minutes of isometrics, you got to pick 10 exercises. Within those 10 exercises, you want to make sure you're getting a good uh, what's the word I'm looking for? A good variety of upper body, low body, and core, unless you're going to do low body isometrics and then upper body dynamics, which I like to do a lot, a hybrid approach. Start with your 10 minutes of low body isometrics, pick all low body positions, and then go do your upper body with dynamics. That's also a fun thing to do, or vice versa, upper body isometrics, low body dynamics. Either way, you got to figure one exercise per 1 minute and pick your favorite exercises or pick your weakest exercises where you know you're not going to program it into your dynamic day. Like, for example, a hamstring curl, if you want to skip that on your dynamic day, you make sure you do that with isometrics. And this goes for any exercise you want to do. Anything for the core or low back, if you want to save those for the strap, save it for the strap. Always stay strapped. That's all I got for today. There's 12 minutes there. If you'd like me to get you set up with some exercises you prefer on isometrics, email me scampone26@gmail.com, or you can book a free call with me. I do consultation calls with isometrics. When I started, I knew I had to start doing them. The moment I learned about them, I knew I had to start implementing them. I just didn't have enough information. I had too many questions. So let's save you some time. Just get on a call with me, free 15-minute call to get going. We'll just discuss what your challenges and opportunities are and how you can work isometrics in. Very simple. Pick my brain and I'll interview you pretty much, because you got questions, I got questions, you got answers, I got answers. Anyway, strap isometrics. Thanks for tuning in. Like and subscribe. Be back soon.